There is a strange moment in modern parenting when the house gets quiet, but the phone in the next room keeps talking. You are making dinner, or folding laundry, or trying to remember where the permission slip went because school papers apparently reproduce in backpacks. And from the living room, you hear a voice. Not a cartoon voice, not a game. A grown voice talking fast. Passive income, money mindset, buy now, pay later. Rich people do this. Nobody gets rich from a job. The child is half watching, half scrolling. To the parent, it looks like entertainment. Just another video, but something else may be happening in that room. A phone may be teaching your child what money is supposed to feel like. Not how it works, not what it costs, not what it builds, or what it quietly destroys when you misread it for long enough. Just the feeling. Fast, visible, exciting, a little loud. The kind of feeling that makes a first paycheck feel small, a savings account feel pointless, and a budget feel like a last resort. There is a genre of content your child may already know better than you do. Online, it often goes by FinTok, short-form videos about money, wealth, income, spending, investing, side hustles, debt, passive income, and financial identity. Some of it is useful, some of it is performed nonsense dressed in professional lighting. Most of it lives in the middle, which is why it is hard to filter. A child watching FinTok does not know how to tell the difference yet. Neither, honestly, do most adults. What they absorb is the emotional texture of money, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what it feels like to want it, get it, spend it, and show it. And that emotional calibration, once it sets, is not easy to adjust later. The obvious fear is that your child might copy bad money advice, but the more dangerous lesson comes later in the video. How the TikTok feed can make a child confuse looking rich with being okay. That catches parents off guard, because it is not about one purchase or one bad tip. It is about identity. Before the feed gets there, it teaches a few smaller lessons first. By the time a child reaches their mid-teens, they may have watched thousands of money moments without calling it financial education. Profit screenshots, apartment tours, shopping hauls, side hustle wins, business launches, someone quitting their job on camera, while a caption explains that nobody gets rich working for someone else. Someone buying something expensive and explaining why it was smart. The sale appears without the years of skill that made it possible. The car appears without the loan, insurance, maintenance, and pressure of keeping up with the payment. The income screenshot appears without the months when nothing happened. Sure, short-form content is not always lying, but it often leaves out the part that would make the video less interesting. Children have not lived the timeline yet, so they watch the highlight reel of someone else's financial life and build a sense of what normal is supposed to look like. There is another classroom hiding under the video too. The comments. A child sees a money clip, then scrolls through hundreds of comments saying, "This changed my life. I tried this," or "School never taught us this." The video teaches the idea. The comments make it feel like consensus. A child sees the advice, then sees 1,000 strangers treating it like wisdom. And most adults find that convincing. Children are not more resistant to it. That is the kind of lesson Raised to Spend is built around. The quiet ones children absorb before anyone realizes they are being taught. If this is the kind of thing you want to start catching earlier, like and subscribe for more videos. Because that is how the feed works. It does not need to win the argument in one clip. It only has to make the same feelings feel normal. Once those feelings repeat often enough, they start turning into rules. The first rule is about work. Short-form money content has a way of making work look embarrassing. It happens gradually, through tone. Jobs are slow. Bosses are ridiculous. Paychecks are small. Trading time for money gets treated like a punchline, or like a trap only people who have not figured it out yet are still stuck in. A child can absorb that framing before they have ever clocked in somewhere, before they have learned that a job can build discipline, skill, savings, and options. This is not a defense of miserable jobs. There are plenty of those. Some jobs are draining. Some workplaces are unfair. But a child still needs to understand the difference between a bad situation and the idea that earning money slowly is embarrassing. One is an adult observation. The other is a financial philosophy being handed to a 10-year-old who still thinks laundry becomes clean because it disappears into a basket. Spending has its own FinTok language, built around making purchases feel less like money leaving your hands. It was basically free after the discount. I get points back. I used buy now, pay later. I deserve it after the week I had. Sure, discounts are real, Points exist, tired weeks are real, but the next question keeps getting skipped. What did it actually cost? And were you already planning to spend that money? The clever framing becomes the answer, instead of the beginning of the question. A child raised on spending content learns that a good explanation can make a purchase feel smarter than it is. That is the lesson parents have to interrupt. Language about money does not change the money. A discount does not make the purchase disappear. A monthly payment does not shrink the total price. And if something was bought to fix a feeling, the receipt only shows part of the cost. Then, the feed starts messing with time by showing results without the timeline. In 30 seconds or a few minutes, you see the sale, the deposit, the apartment, the trip, the car, the magic dollar number. You do not see the years before it, the failed attempts, the family support, the second income, or the fact that you may be watching the one person who made it work. The winner is interesting. The people who tried the same thing and disappeared quietly are not making content about what happened, so their absence does not register. A child watching this is not building a realistic picture of probability, but a world where certain moves quickly produce certain results. That makes patience feel like a symptom of not knowing enough. It makes slow progress feel like evidence that something is wrong. That is where the real wound opens. TikTok can make slow money feel like failure. It happens through the emotional texture of thousands of clips, absorbed over months and years, building a standard most real financial lives cannot match. A first job feels slow, the money is small, the hours are specific, and the progress is not visible. Next to someone claiming they made more in a weekend than most people make in a month, a regular paycheck can feel embarrassing. Saving feels invisible. You set aside $50, the number goes up, and nothing changes on the outside. Compound interest works remarkably well, but it is almost impossible to make compelling at 14 because it requires years, and the feed has taught them that years are what you skip. Budgeting can sound almost medieval to a child raised on FinTok. Track, limit, plan, and accept that there are things they cannot have yet, while the algorithm shows people buying first and explaining afterward. The patience problem goes deeper than money. It shapes what a child expects effort to feel like. If money is supposed to feel fast, visible, exciting, and public, ordinary financial life starts to feel wrong. Your progress is not photogenic. Your discipline does not make good content. Parents are not going to outshine the feed. Their job is to teach that boring money habits still count. Invisible progress is not failure. The slow version is often the only version that lasts. When slow starts looking foolish, risk starts looking cleaner than it really is. Trading wins, crypto profits, business flips, and side hustle success stories often appear without losses, taxes, failed attempts, or emotional cost. The feed shows the clean version of risk. A small amount becomes a large amount, and the video lands like a magic trick. Real risk has rough edges, fees, bad timing, embarrassment, money lost quietly, sleep lost loudly, and people who failed without filming a lesson about it. The winner is interesting, the graveyard is not. So the child sees the winner again and again, until rare outcomes feel common. Luck looks like a system, and risk feels cleaner than it really is. And when a child has never lost money they worked for, the downside can feel imaginary. Then comes the part many parents do not see coming. TikTok turns money into social proof. In short-form financial content, money often exists to be seen. The car matters because you can film yourself in it. The apartment matters because it looks right on screen. The income screenshot matters because people respond to it. Most real financial health does not look like much. Paying bills on time, avoiding high-interest debt, building an emergency fund, learning a skill, saying no because you have a longer-term plan. All of that is invisible. The feed teaches children that visible money is real money. The quiet, stable version of financial health does not register. That may be the lesson that follows them the longest. A child who measures wealth by how it looks can build their financial identity around visibility. The question shifts from, does this make me stable? To, does this make me look like someone who is doing well? Those questions can point in opposite directions. You can look wealthy while becoming less stable. The feed is full of people performing a version of wealth their real numbers may not support. That is what happens when financial education prioritizes image over function for long enough. So what does a parent do with a lesson that is already in the room? Banning every screen is not much of a plan. Children usually meet the information eventually, and if they meet it without a framework, the feed gets to explain it first. The better answer is translation. When your child mentions something they heard about money, a simple side hustle, a smart-sounding purchase, a claim about jobs, the most useful move is not to argue with the conclusion. Instead, ask about the timeline. How long did this actually take? What happened before the screenshot? What does it look like when it does not work? Who benefits if you believe this? Would this decision still make sense if nobody could see it? Those questions do not dismiss what the child heard. They add the dimension the video left out, the part that makes the story real, instead of just satisfying. Some lessons have to be said out loud. Slow money is not broken money. Saving $50 a month does not feel like much, but over time, it becomes something real. Invisible habits are often the ones that matter most. The discipline nobody sees, the boundary nobody applauds, the purchase not made. Those do not generate content, they generate stability. The graveyard is not on the feed. For every person whose trade worked, whose side hustle scaled, or whose business turned a profit quickly, there are many more who tried and disappeared quietly. Wealth usually grows in the quiet parts, through habits too slow and undramatic for an algorithm that needs your child to keep watching. Your child is going to see the feed regardless. They will watch someone explain, very confidently, that jobs are a scam, money mindset is everything, or one clever move unlocked what boring advice never could. They will feel it. The algorithm is good at producing that feeling. Your job is to make sure your child has a better question ready before the feeling arrives. Not, is this true? That is hard to answer in 60 seconds. The better question is, what part of this story are they not showing me? That question will not make them immune to everything, but it may make them curious enough to look for the missing timeline before they act, because the next money lesson may already be playing in the next room. When the house gets quiet and the screen is on, there is a decent chance your child is absorbing a lesson about what money is supposed to feel like. The lesson is not malicious. The algorithm does not have intentions. It rewards what gets watched. The version of money that feels best, moves fastest, and leaves out the most. The boring habits are still in your house, the patient version of wealth, the invisible discipline, the slow account growing in the background with no audience and no soundtrack. That is still available to teach, it just will not show up in their feed. If this made one ordinary money moment feel less ordinary, subscribe to Raised to Spend. We look at how kids learn money before they earn it, and why those lessons shape the future they can afford.